Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. So you want to be more patient and calm with your kids, but you feel like it's so hard and you wake up reacting to your days. So much frustration on a daily basis. Listen, my course, Emotionally Healthy Mom, will teach you how to get to the root of your stress, how to control your controllable stressors. I will teach you how to prioritize your needs without guilt and show you how to calm your nervous system and communicate your emotions and needs in a healthy way. Let's make motherhood a place you enjoy living in and set a positive example for your kids and not a place of survival and dread. So come into Emotionally Healthy Mom course so I can show you how to ditch the overwhelm, burnout, and stress so you can become a patient and calm mama. Link is in the show notes to sign up. The flash sale ends on April 10th. So I was not planning on recording this episode, and as I was in church on Easter Sunday, which that's what it is today, Easter Sunday, I was thinking I am turning 34, and I just want to share with you some lessons that I have learned in the 34 years of my life. So I enjoyed the energy, how skinny I was maybe, and how fit I was pre my kids. But I feel like I enjoy the wisdom and the knowledge and the life experience that I have in my 30s. I feel like I already know who I am. I know what I like, what I don't like. I know my limits. I know my identity. I know kind of what my passions and desires are, my vision for my life. I feel like as you get older, you start to kind of learn more of those things about yourself. And part part of it is like that personal development and that time that I get to spend literally with myself every single day. And I think that is what kind of contributes to getting to know more about yourself and just, more life experience. In your 20s, you're just still kind of figuring life out. So I've been a mom for 11 and a half years. So I feel like I have some sort of experience in just life that I wanted to share with you, that I think you might find some of the things, maybe lessons, beneficial. Okay. So number one, I feel like I need God a lot more in my life now that I'm getting older, especially that my kids are getting older. I feel like when my kids were younger, and they were just home with me all the time. It was a lot of things were in my control. The structure of the day, what I fed them, things that I said, things that they watched. And now that my kids go to a private Christian school and just things are happening at like lunch, and sometimes they'll go on a field trip, or sometimes they go hang out with friends, and like things that they see and say to each other, right? I'm not there anymore. Like friendships that they have at school, and maybe some mean things that some of the kids say. And I feel like a lot more things are happening out of my control. And especially since like my oldest son, like he's 11 and a half, he wants to spend more time with his friends. And so I feel like as I'm getting older, I feel like my control over my kids is not there as much as it used to be, in the sense of like me watching over everything. And I feel like I need more and more God in my life to pray over them and to surrender them to God, and for God to protect them and keep them safe from anything that is harmful. Number two, my mom was right. She was right about a lot of things in life. And I think when you're a teenager or preteen and early teen, and maybe until you get married, you just think your parents are kind of like foolish and unwise and they don't get you. And then you become a parent yourself, and then your kids are growing up and you're like, man, my mom was right. She was so right about so many things in life, especially if you have like a good relationship with your parents. I think one of the coolest things that my mom gave me advice that I will share with you, that I implement in my life. And she said it early on when I had my first son. And she said, never ever defend your child if somebody comes to you and says and tells you, you know what, your child did something or they said something. Just say, thank you for letting me know. I will talk to my kid. I appreciate, you coming to me, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how much you want to defend your child and say, my child would never, ever do something like that, because you literally don't know what they can do. And there will be often times where you think your child would never say or do something like that, and they actually did. And I have experienced moments like that where I never thought my child would do something like that. And, I had a call from the principal, or, another mom came up and said something to me, and I wanted to just melt into the ground and disappear. And I just said, thank you for letting me know. I'll talk to my kid. And it was so embarrassing and so uncomfortable. And then when I did talk to my kid, it was true. So that is like a great advice that my mom was right and that she gave me. And back when I was a teenager, I think all of us, we think back, we thought we knew life. We thought we had it all figured out. And then we quickly realized as life goes on that our parents were right about a lot of things that we never thought about. So number 3, nothing is going to change if nothing changes. This is a really good one. I feel like this one I learned a few years ago. I heard this quote somewhere, and it is so accurate. If you want some positive changes in your life, you need to make some changes that are probably uncomfortable. I remember my therapist once asked me, she's like, are you willing to live like this for the rest of your life? And it was a really hard season for me. And I said, no. I mean, I could, but I know I don't want to. And then her next question was, what are you willing to do about it? And so nothing is going to change if nothing changes. Yes, there are some things that are God's responsibility that only He can do, but there are things that are your ownership, and the actions that you need to change, the habits that you need to change, the thinking patterns that you need to change. So if you want some positive changes, like you want to lose weight and be fit and feel good and, mental health to feel better, well, then you need to make maybe some changes in your life. And so That is like a really great quote that I think is really good. Number 4, I cannot change or control other people. When I try, I create stress and anger for myself. This is a big one, and I think this one is many moms or even many people can relate to this, right? Like, we as humans crave control. And one of the things that the Bible tells us is to have self-control, not other control. And when we try to control other people, what happens? They don't like it. They don't want to be controlled. Think about your kids, think about your spouse. How many times have you tried changing your spouse? And when we try to do that, that just creates lots of frustrations, lots of stress, and actually even leads to anger, because when we try to do something and it's not working out, eventually it will get to the point of anger. And that requires a mindset shift. I cannot control other people. You can influence other people with your actions and your words, but technically you cannot control them. And if you try, you're going to create lots of frustration, stress, and anger for yourself. Number 5, kids do what we model, not what we say. How many times have you told your kids to do something or not do something? And then have you ever caught your children repeating phrases that you say, and you're like, oh, no. I did not want them to mimic that, and they do. One of the phrases that I am working on is that when I'm frustrated, and I am kind of internally in a bad place, and my kids want something, and one of the phrases that I will say is, I don't care. I don't care what you need or want right now. This is what needs to get done right now. I don't care. And you know what happened? I started to notice my kids saying that to each other. And then they would even throw it out at me when I would say it. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, they're literally saying what I'm saying. And if I'm telling them not to say that and I'm saying that to them, that is not good. And so that is a phrase that I have to work on intentionally, because realistically, I do care. It's just in that heat of the moment, when I'm frustrated, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm overstimulated and they want something and need something, and I set a limit and they're whining and complaining and asking why, and you just want to say, I don't care, and walk away. And that's not a really, godly response, I would say, kind or loving. And that is something I definitely need to work on myself. Okay. So kids will do what we model, not what we say tell them to do. So if you want to leave a positive example for your children in emotional regulation and taking care of yourself, go grab that course that is on flash sale. Today's the last day to grab it. It's only $49. Mama, run, because it's going to be so helpful for you to learn proactive strategies to support yourself. So then you're less frustrated, less overwhelmed, less triggered to begin with, and your window of tolerance is much higher. All right, number 6, as a mom, I have a huge impact on the energy I create in my home, peace or chaos. So this is something that I started to really notice about 5 years ago, that my energy really affects the rest of the home. So if I'm in a crabby mood, if I'm moody, if I'm frustrated, if I'm angry and raising my voice, if I'm snappy, my kids and my family feeds off of that. The Bible tells us a soft answer turns away wrath. And so if we want more peace and calm in our home and have more emotional regulation and stability, emotional stability, it really starts with us. If your spouse is the one who explodes a lot, you cannot control them, but you can control yourself. There's a whole nother thing, if you have problems with an explosive spouse, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. We all have hard days. Then there might be some boundaries that need to be set, and you might have to reach out and get some professional help, but you are responsible for yourself. And as a mom, especially a stay-at-home mom, because you're home with your kids all day long, you really set the tone in the family. So if you are struggling and you are reacting, it will spill into the rest of the family. All right. So number 7, Being intentional parent requires a lot of energy. Therefore, I need to prioritize my needs in order to show up well for my family. So one of the things I learned several years ago when I got on this path of personal development and starting to learn more about myself and like positive, gentle parenting was that I learned that it requires a lot of energy. It takes a lot out of me to be patient and regulated, calm, and, bring that sense of peace in my home and to take care of myself. That is one of the most important things that I needed to do to show up and take better care of my family. It's not that I matter more than my family. It's that I matter too. And my needs matter too. And I need to show up for myself so I can show up well for my family. So your kids are not your excuse not to take care of yourself. They are your reason for you to take care of yourself. So then you can take even a better care of them. Because who is going to benefit if you're run down, exhausted, have mental health problems, have emotional explosions, burned out, overwhelmed? Who is literally benefiting from that? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And self-care and quiet and stillness and regular proactive time to refill your tank is something that is so important and valuable that I felt like in the last few years, I really, really learned the benefits of that. Number 8, we grow in hard seasons in our life, and it happens when we are out of our comfort zone. I definitely have grown a lot in the last 5 years of my life, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, mindset, and a lot of it was uncomfortable. It felt scary. It felt, just uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it, but sometimes you're literally just put into that season and you can't get out of it. You're just walking through it. And this is when you lean on God and you ask God for help. And you also do your own part. You pray about it and then you show God what you need to do. I went to therapy, then I went to counseling. I bought self-development courses and read books and read scriptures and studied and learned more and more and things that benefit me and my family, my well-being, my spiritual wellness, my emotional wellness, my mental wellness, so then I can show up as that person God is calling me to be for my family. And so we do not grow in easy seasons in our life. Why? Because if everything is easy and everything is going our way and nothing is challenging, then we wouldn't need Jesus. Then we wouldn't need God. Then we would be self-sufficient. And that is not how God created us. Number 9, I can either beat myself up for my mistakes or learn from them. We all make mistakes. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. Our spouses make mistakes. Our kids make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. And we have 2 options. Is we can learn from them and move forward and think about, well, what did I do? What worked? What didn't work? How am I going to do things differently next time? Or you can beat yourself up and say, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Why would I do something like this? I remember I had a conversation with my husband just a few weeks back. He, said something to somebody that he's like, oh, I wish I would have said something different. It was just not a smart thing to say. And, I said, you know what? We all make mistakes. You learn from it. You move forward and you say, I know what not to do next time. And there is grace and forgiveness. If you need to forgive yourself, if you need to ask for forgiveness, do so. But that is something it's a mindset shift. You can either beat yourself up for it or you can choose to do things differently next time, which gets me into number 10. Mindset is huge. It determines how you feel and how you behave, and it also feeds in your relationships. So the way you think affects the way you feel. The way you feel affects the way you take actions, and the actions that you take will really affect your relationships. So if you think that your kids are frustrating you on purpose, you will feel very frustrated, agitated, and angry. Therefore, you're going to react, raise your voice, or maybe do something that you regret later. And therefore, that is going to damage your relationships with your kids and not help them, right? But if you see your kids just being loud because they're normally that's just the way kids are at this age, your mindset is different about the situation. Or let's say your child is melting down and you say, you know what, I have a good kid who's having a hard time. They're just really frustrated and they don't know how to handle their emotions well yet. And so your mindset shifts about the situation, about your child. So then you are less frustrated, you have more compassion and kindness and understanding, and then you come and give them a hug. And that actually builds up your relationship with your kids. That's just like an example, but your mindset, the way you think, is extremely, extremely powerful, and it really determines so many things in your life, like your relationships with your spouse, your decisions in life. Like it affects your feelings, your anxiety, your stress level, your depression, like your bitterness, resentment, all of it comes back to your mindset. And guess what? The devil, his biggest weapon is attacking your mindset. That's what he wants to attack the most and mess with the most, because it affects other areas in your life. It literally spills into all the other areas of your life. So that's why mastering our mindset with God's help, using scripture, and then just using wisdom, like maybe from other people and life lessons from them, and just shifting your thoughts. If you think of a thought and you're like, is this helping me or hurting me? Is this actually serving the situation? No, it's not. What's a new thought that I can create? And some of it is just, we can shift our own thoughts. Other things, we can ask God for help and guide us and direct us, what we can think differently. But your mindset is extremely powerful in how you do life, and literally the decisions and results that you have in life. So those are my 10 things. I'm going to run through them again. Number 1, I need God more and more in my life as I get older. I feel like, especially since my kids are getting older, I need to surrender more to God and let go of my control. Number 2, my mom was right. She was right about a lot of things in life that I, as a teenager, felt like she was maybe foolish or ridiculous. Number 3, nothing will change if nothing changes in your life, if you don't make any changes. Number 4, I cannot change or control other people. When I try, I create stress and anger for myself. Number 5, kids do what we model, not what we say. Number 6, as a mom, I have a huge impact on the energy I create in my home, peace or chaos. Number 7, being an intentional parent requires a lot of energy. Therefore, I need to prioritize my needs in order to show up well for my family. Number 8, we grow in hard seasons in our lives, and we grow outside of our comfort zone. We never grow internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally when we stay in our comfort zone. Number 9, I can either beat myself up for my mistakes or learn from them. And number 10, my mindset is huge. It determines how I feel, how I behave, and it affects my relationships. All right, my friend, I'm going to close up and finish here. I hope you found some of these lessons useful and hopeful, and maybe it helped you shift some of your mindset and perspective. I want to remind you again that my course, Emotionally Healthy Mom, is on flash sale right now. It's only $49. Go run, sign up. It's going to be so helpful for you to set yourself up proactively to have a much higher window of tolerance throughout the day to respond instead of react with your children. All right, my friend, thanks for being here, and until next time. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.